Hello and welcome to another episode of Sense&Rants. It is your girl Mutarayo Adeola. On today's episode, I am joined by Taye Arimoro as we explore family dynamics. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go.
Hi, Taye. Thank you for coming to Sense and Rants. We're
Hi,
glad to have
Mutra.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you please introduce yourself? I mean, it doesn't need
Um,
introduction, but let's just.
okay. I'm Taye Arimoro. Um, I'm an actor. I'm a photographer. I'm a model, and I I run a production company called
Called what?
Um, Abstract Imagery Media.
Okay.
What else is there to say? I think that's about it.
And you like to work out? Tell the girls that.
Short.
Hi, ladies.
Um, I mean, like I said, brief introduction. The
Okay,
most
let's make
important
it
things.
long
But yeah,
introduction.
no, we're not going to finish this. We're not going to finish this video call. We're not going to finish this interview if I have to go all the way.
Yeah, okay. Well, so on today's episode, we're talking about family dynamics, right? And
Yeah,
I'm going
right.
to start off by saying, when you hear the word family, what comes to mind? Like,
Hmm. Family. When I hear the word family, first thing that comes to mind is the people that that I that I choose to be my
oh my
family.
God, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, family in the traditional sense of the word or the term. Um, when I think about it, I can't really relate.
Mm,
Because of my own experience. With the family that I was born to.
hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I can't really relate. I see other people's families. I've seen some beautiful families, to be honest.
Yeah.
And how they're formed and the unity, and
Mhm.
how it's so difficult to break that cord.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, most families that I've seen around, that I have experienced around me, are pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie. Mine is a typical example of what a dysfunctional family is like.
Family.
So for me, what family really means to me are people that I choose to be in my
Mm.
life.
That's actually very similar to me as well, because I always think, oh, when people say, oh, family is like blood or siblings or your parents or something, I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah,
those are like, they're giving, or you were giving, they're giving, they were like chosen without your consent. But like family for
word
me, yeah, like people that I choose to be in my corner,
that
and
you
they're
choose.
probably not even related by blood in any way, shape, or form. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, which is also
I mean,
interesting
I
because
can totally relate to that.
yeah,
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 you were saying.
yeah, which is also interesting because like on the other end, when I think about family, right, I think about all the cousins I grew up with, like
Okay.
so family to me is that chosen people or like extended, so not necessarily the nuclear father, mother, siblings type
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's grandmother and grand cousins and all that jazz. So yeah, yeah, let's
All the
describe
yeah.
your family growing up.
So I come from a polygamous family. My dad had five wives, not all at the same time. Um, he was married to his first wife, and then they got a divorce, and he married four other wives after that. Sort of at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, my family had so I had four mothers or five mothers.
Well, one full
And
mother and one four stepmothers.
yeah, so I had like an actual like my mom, and
Yeah.
then I had four stepmoms, and I had 10 siblings. So out of those 10 siblings, two of them are my actual siblings, from
Your
my
full
mom.
siblings. Okay.
Yeah, my full siblings, and the other eight are my step siblings.
Okay.
That's the kind of family I grew up in. So it was a pretty big family, and then my dad had like a large family as well. But to summarize my family in one word, honestly, like I said before, I'll say it's a dysfunctional one.
Mm. Mm. Okay, so fun fact, I also at different times in my life had, I think, up to 5 stepmoms.
Okay. Look at that. Common
I
ground.
know this is weird, and I also have two full siblings and I think about 9 half siblings. So we're kind of really creepily similar in that aspect. But I also grew up in a not so functional family. I actually didn't have a relationship with my some of my siblings growing up at all, and some of them I still
Right.
don't, unfortunately. But some of them I'm growing. We're growing. Hi, Jay. Dan, we're growing a relationship now. Um,
Right.
so let's describe your relationship with your parents or your siblings.
Okay, relationships. I didn't so growing up, the relationships in my family, either with my parents or with my siblings, we're not that, we're not all that, we
Mhm.
didn't really have like strong bonds and stuff like that. I remember growing up, I used to like have a strong relationship when I was much younger, rather, when I was really young. I
Yeah.
used to have a strong relationship with my dad. And then as I grew older, maybe it's the teenage young or youthful exuberance or,
Hmm.
just wanting to do things, the way I saw and the way I perceived them in my mind, and
Hmm.
how I wanted to bring things to reality. And you know how it is now with African
Yeah,
parents, they're always
I
like,
do.
"Oh, no, you cannot do this. No, you do what I say and you see what
Sid.
I do, or whatever. So there was a lot of clash. There was a lot
Hmm.
of clash, and my family, we sort of have this stubbornness, which most of us sort of
Your
adopted from my
dad.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know how African men are, like
Yeah.
very stubborn. So most of us have that stubbornness, right? So imagine like having like the the older stubbornness meets the new school
You
stubbornness,
grow
and
with stubbornness.
there's that clash. So
Yeah.
as I started growing older, I started having like more disagreements with my dad, more disagreements with the way my my not just my dad, but my stepmoms, and my elder siblings sort of saw the world and saw things, things like, oh, you know what to do, what to say, how to say certain things, how to refer to your elderly
Elder
siblings and
sibling.
things
Yeah.
like that. I just see like my siblings are my siblings. I want to just call them by their names and say, this is it. But if I call them by their names and then you're slapping my mouth for not saying brother or uncle, like it does not
Oh,
make any
auntie.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Or auntie, it does not make any sense to me. And so
Mm.
there was always that fight back that come like, okay, if you want to tell me to say auntie, at least help me understand why you're telling me
Mhm.
as opposed to slapping me or punishing me or smacking me or things like that. So I had a load. I was going to use like a cuss word, but no, I had a ton of disagreements with my dad, my stepmoms, as well as maybe sometimes my mom, because I felt like sometimes I used to feel like my mom should have sort of stood up for me sometimes as well.
Mm.
Um,
Was she the
but
last
that's
wife?
that's yes. So
Okay.
my mom was the youngest wife,
Okay.
right? And so
Yeah.
we are the youngest set of kids. So there's me, my twin sister, and my younger brother for
Okay.
the last set of kids, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
every other person was older. So every other person, you had to call every other person brother or
Auntie. Yeah.
uncle or auntie and sister, or whatever it is. Um, I remember having like a big disagreement, with my dad, especially when it came to getting into uni. They wanted me to go to Covenant University, which is where my twin sister went to anyway. I had passed the exam, but I said I didn't want to go to Covenant University. I wanted to
Mhm.
go to Unilag, right? And
Mhm.
we had like a big fight about it, which was sort of like the same issues that I had with my dad. It's sort of like this. Maybe I hope we'll get there. But it's sort of like the same issues that I mostly have with people. If you want me to do something, then help me
Yeah.
understand why. You
Yeah.
know, I'm going to see things how I want to see them, right? And that's valid as well. It's valid. You're not me. I'm not you. I'm going
Right.
to want to do what I what I feel is best for me,
Mhm.
right? if you make an argument for why you think this your own opinion is best for me, or your perspective is better for me, then help me understand how and why. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm not an unreasonable person. I've never been an unreasonable person, right? I know how to think. So
Yeah.
if you say, oh, you know what, this is why I think that, this is good for you, or whatever it is, then if it makes sense to me, then okay, let's go with it, let's roll with it. But if
Right.
you're insisting that I do it without telling me, you know what, this
A
is why,
reason.
then hey, come on, man, I'm an African child. Like, come on, stubbornness is in my DNA. I'm going to want to do what's in my mind.
You rebel,
You know,
yeah. Yeah.
like, and the more you try to imprint your own ideas on me, the more I'm trying to rebel up against you, against your own opinion.
Yeah.
So I found that, a lot of times that was like the core of the clash between my dad and I. For my mom, I had a lot of clashes, like, from both my parents, but not mostly my dad. For my mom, I had a clash with my mom because I felt like she could have stood up for me more.
More.
More, because come on, we're the last set of kids, so everyone would want to take out whatever frustrations or whatever ideas, whatever experiment they had on us. So I felt like, maybe my mom should have, sort of stood her ground in certain situations, actually in so many situations. And that was like the clash I had with my mom, but it was not that serious, right?
Yeah.
Um, I grew up and also when I was in my younger years, much younger years, I watched my dad abuse my mom physically. So it was also like it was also a case of, hmm, come, man, like you can't hit my mom, man. Like, come on, man. I remember standing up to him one time, holding a knife to him and saying I was going to like stab him and things like that. It's like you cannot, you cannot hit my mom. Um, but then I was young. I was so young, so there was only so much I could do. But then it stopped. It sort of stopped. I think after that confrontation, because I didn't even know it was wrong until people started telling me that, "Come, this is wrong."
Yeah.
And that's when I started seeing, oh, what? Come on, man. I remember one incident when I was in Sunday school. I hit a girl, a little girl,
Yeah.
and Sunday school teacher called me to one corner and asked me, "Oh, do you know this is wrong?" And I'm like, but she annoyed me, and I'm like, and she's like, "No, it's wrong," And
Yeah.
she asked, "Does your dad hit your mom?" And I said, "Yes," and she was like, "It's wrong." And I remember crying,
Correction.
really crying,
Yeah.
and she asked me to apologize, and there was just something in my mind that felt like, oh, you know what, if you help me understand that this is what's right and what's wrong, if it makes sense, then I'll sort of flow with that,
Yeah.
and she helped me understand. In fact, that was sort of the first time I really started to understand how I tick as a human being,
Yeah.
the how I respond to situations or people's perspectives. If you help me understand it, then I can see it, as opposed to trying to force it down my throat.
Yeah.
And I remember crying and apologizing to the little girl. Then I don't remember who she is, but and then it was from that day I started realizing that abuse is wrong. Hitting anyone, and not talk less of hitting a woman is totally wrong. And I watched my dad. I had before then I had watched my dad do it a number of times, and the next time he did it after that, that was when I started having issues with him, and I said, it's wrong. My
It's
Sunday
wrong.
school teacher
Yeah.
said it's wrong, so you cannot do that.
And it's very funny, right? Somebody from outside taught you that, not somebody from within.
Yeah. So that sort of shaped like my relationship with my parents, with my siblings. In all honesty, and to be
Before we
honest,
actually go to siblings, right? Let me say I'm very sorry you had to experience the physical abuse on your mom.
yeah,
That's something I feel like most of us kind of grew up with, but it shouldn't, like you said, be tolerated. It shouldn't be a thing. And to all the women out there, please get help, leave if you can. I know people say they stay for their
yeah,
kids or whatever, but please, if you really truly can, just get away from abuse and go to a healthy
yeah,
place.
toxic situation.
Yeah, yes, please get some help. And then on like your I had a point that I'm trying to remember now. It had to do with your mom. not being able to speak up. But I think the point it will come back to me. Okay, let's go to your siblings.
Before I even get to my siblings, so now I sort of talked about the clashes I had with like my parents, right? But let me to be honest, right? My dad was a fantastic guy. I'm not even gonna lie, like he wasn't a terrible person, right? Or at least not all through and through. You know, there are people who do like bad things, but they sort of have like a lot of good in them. And my dad had a lot of good as well. You know, he would always, try to protect, his family, try to show love in the best way he could. I'm guessing that he probably also didn't know better because he probably watched
Yeah, that's
that,
something else I'm expressed. So I didn't have a relationship with my dad for like 10, 12 years of my life. But up
right.
until recently, one of my half brothers made a point. My dad grew up without a father. Like his mom was pregnant with him when his dad passed. So he grew up with a stepfather, right? And so on Father's Day, I think so last year or 2 years ago, we were in the group chat, the children's group chat, like, oh, let's call father to wish me happy Father's Day. And we were like, huh? Like, nah, son, like he wasn't a father. So of course there was that little banter of, oh, sperm donor, father, daddy, what level does it belong to? And literally we had that conversation, right? So, and he's here in the States, right? It lives like 20, 30 minutes away. So I pick up my phone, like call him, like, hey, so guess what is happening in your children's WhatsApp group? And it's like, oh, you guys have a group? I was like, yeah, we do now. And we talked about, and I talked to him about, you need to apologize to your children. And he was like, no. The only thing the only requirement of him as a father was to bring us into the world, and he did just that. And I was like, okay, got it.
Typical
Exactly, exactly. And when he said that, I went to tell my siblings in the chat, and they were like, well, he didn't know better. Like he literally didn't have a father, so he didn't learn from anybody.
No reference. Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, that was the point for me. I took those 2 points and I went to therapy, and my therapist was like, so how does that make you feel? And I was like, very forgiving, because I'd never thought about him not even having that figure that I have or kind of sort of had or have. And it's just like, how do you expect so much when they didn't
someone who doesn't even know? Yeah, who doesn't know better?
Yeah. That was when my very soft, forgiving side of every mistake that he made just like started growing. I was like, you know what? You legit didn't know. Yeah.
I mean, but it's not an excuse though, to be honest, right?
It's not an excuse. It's really not. African parents need to do better for sure.
Yeah, like African parents need to do better. Let's not even kid ourselves. But in all honesty, it's like there can be a pass. There can be a pass because if there's no, as human beings, right, we come into this world picking up on things, so either subconsciously or consciously, right? Having good parenting is a very, very important factor in building society, right? You know how they say that the home is the first government, right? If the home is not right, if there are no efforts from both the male figures and the female figures in that home, then there's usually like comma somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. So there can be a pass because there's no example. There was no example. So
not good example.
Yeah, no good example. So it's probably like seeing like other men hit their women, and it's like, oh, you know what? Oh well, probably somewhere in his heart he feels bad after it, right? Because usually most of the time people feel bad after they like at least people that have that sort of have a good heart.
Yeah, good heart.
They usually feel bad after doing like bad stuff. But still, I mean, like I said, or like you mentioned already, there can be a pass for people who don't know better. And I feel like now for us, our generation, we know better. We have more information. I know then there was no internet. There was barely anyone that could speak up and say, you know what you're doing is wrong. Do you understand? There was barely anyone because it was the norm. Even women could not even speak up for themselves and say, you know what,
even women would advise other women to stay. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to start from?
You're not the first. You will not be the last. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, like, you as a woman who feels like, oh, this is wrong, even the man feels it's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? But his fellow men are telling him, you put her in place,
You put,
and then, and for
talking
the
about you
women,
put her, hey, talking about you put her in place. Let me gist you real quick on Twitter. This Twitter street,
okay,
this lady comes online and says, "Oh, our mother-in-law visited, and I think it was around like 7 p.m. or whatever.
yeah,
And she asked for meal, like dinner. So she calls the chef, like, oh, come fix mother something to eat. And she was with her husband, right? And the woman said,
yeah,
no, I want you to
no,
cook
like,
for
it has
me.
to be her, right?
So
I think I saw something like that.
the lady and her husband went upstairs now to go and sleep. 11 p.m.
They'd
The
be
mom
like, no, the chef had gone, Abby. Chef had left. The woman went to go and fix herself.
to come and say, yeah, come. No. She actually like went and go and knocked. Like, sorry, is the chef still here? Like at 11 p.m. Like, chef already left. And then someone had the infantry, the audacity in this 2021 year of our Lord Jesus Christ and said,
Yeah.
this is why I will empower my family to beat my wife to correct her.
No, that doesn't even make any sense, man. That doesn't make any sense. Your wife is not married to your family; she's married to you as a
Even
person.
if he's
So,
married to, so he said, I will empower. Like, I will literally empower my family to
yeah,
beat
I
his
feel like
wife.
that is also like a problem in itself. The fact that people don't understand the essence
Understand?
of family. If the woman wants to do it, it's all well and good, But if she doesn't want to do it, nobody's forcing her to do it, that
It's
kind of
so
thing.
crazy. It's really
Um,
crazy.
so understand that you have to protect each other within your. In fact, first things first, your nuclear family, you have to protect each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Then once you can lock that down, it starts to spread to the extended
Right.
family.
Yeah.
And outside the extended family, it starts to spread to people that are connected
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
family.
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect. It's the little things, protect this space, protect this little space, and then it starts to extend.
Mm-hmm.
It starts
Mm-hmm.
to extend. And once people can see that you're protecting this little space, they have to fall in
They
line. It's not
respect it
They'll
exactly.
respect it and fall in line.
Wow. It's I
You
can I
understand?
can I can testify to that because my mom was one of the women that left. Like she's just like, I'm out. This ain't working. And she left.
Yeah.
And so when people say, oh, I can't leave because I'm poor, I'm like, my mother was poor with 3 children. Like we
Oh, well,
started
you'll figure
again.
it out. You're a
Exactly.
full grown human being.
Just
You'll figure it
just
out.
like
You'll
just
figure it out.
bet on yourself. Like bet on yourself. Start again
But
as
but another thing is education is, and it's not just the formal education. It's what has been instilled in you from
culture and tradition,
yeah
maybe not
what
education.
has been what has no. I'm even talking about aside from culture. Yes, there's to be honest. I don't want to speak out of line by saying there's a lot of loopholes in our culture, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of rubbish that we accept in our culture.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I'm just gonna center on education itself,
Okay. Like
right?
as in Western
What
education?
not Western
Not
education. I'm
Western.
talking.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like I said education, but not even just formal education, informal
Okay.
education as well. Like what has been instilled in you? What did your parents say to you? What the people around you, the older figures, the father
Mm-hmm.
figures, the mother figures, what did they say to you?
Yeah.
How do you see things? What is your perspective on things?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I spoke to my mom for the first time. To be honest, after my dad died, I locked off. Like I really didn't even care for anybody. In fact, that was like the beginning of the end. Like in fact, that was the end. It was not even the beginning of the end. It was the end. It was like, everybody should just like fuck off.
Did the idea? Yeah.
I mean, forgive my French, right?
No, it's okay.
But but then I spoke to my mom one time. In fact, I think that's the only real connection that I've really had with my mom, or the top of the list,
Mm-hmm.
real connections that I've had with my mom. And I said, why did you stay in this marriage? And she
What
said
year
to
did you
me,
have your conversation?
this was about maybe 5 years ago.
Oh,
My dad died in 2011. My dad died in 2011. So this year it's 10 years,
10 years, 11
right?
years.
So sorry, 11 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was about 6 years actually ago.
Mm,
And I asked her, why did you stay?
mm,
Like, why did you stay after all of the rubbish, all of the abuse, the not being happy, you opened the shop, he closed it down. He did a lot of, did a lot of things. And some of them were not even things that he did consciously. It's just like, what, he like the shop thing, like he'll come, take things on credit, not pay, and she would not put her foot down and say, you have to pay. If not, this family is on short lockdown.
yeah.
This kind of things. Like, I'm
Yeah.
locking this family down. That money must come
I'm
out because
lockdown.
this is my business. This is how
Yeah.
this is how I'm going to fend for my children if anything happens to you because you have like a ton of wives.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, why didn't you put your foot down? Why did you stay? Why did you stay? And things like that. And she said that after she had us, she felt stuck.
Mm,
She
yeah.
tried, she really wanted to leave, even if like she said something. She said she wanted to even leave us with him. But then her family intervened. Said,
Yeah.
you have to stay. If you don't stay, like what's gonna happen to your children? What's gonna happen to you? My mom dropped out of school after she got married. She dropped out of uni after she got married. I'm like, why? And the one thing that stood out for me was the fact that she mentioned family. Her family kept on saying, and I'm grateful. It's good to see that. It's good to see that. These days, families. I've seen families that are raising like stronger women.
Yeah.
It's all in the upbringing. To be honest, it's all in. I cannot blame my mom and say, oh, you know what, this. I mean, this is it. Because her perspective is has a big role to play when you're sort of analyzing people. I said
Mm-hmm.
they've committed a crime. I said
Yeah.
they've committed a crime. If you're committed a crime, even though perspective is important, you don't commit crime, you're going to jail. There's
Yeah.
no
Exactly.
two
Yeah.
ways about it, right?
Yeah.
But in the case where they've not committed a crime, perspective in everybody's lives, perspective
Yeah.
really, really matters, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that sort of started to shape my opinion about my mom. It made me start to understand her even much better than just judging her based on, oh, you know what, this is it, this is it, this is it.
Yeah.
I
That's
understood that how she grew up, the things that they condition, how her mind was conditioned growing up was
mm,
also had a big
yeah.
role to
On the
play
decision. Yeah.
in decision making. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting because my conversation with my mom was, why did you marry this guy? Like, I feel like all the red flags were there, but you chose to marry him, and like your
Right.
family, our father means, like, if you know my mom, like our father was like her idol, and that was the only man he would approve of all the men. And
Right. Right.
she said yes just because her father liked them enough. Um
Oh,
and
right.
yeah, it was a difficult conversation, but I feel like those conversations kind of change a lot of things for you when you have them, because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helped me realize that, okay, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was love. Maybe my father was just, I mean, it was cute at some point. But yeah,
He's always cute at some point. He's always cute
yeah,
at some. I couldn't even ask my dad why. I couldn't even ask my mom why she married my dad because like even I'll probably marry my dad. He was a
yeah,
cool guy. He was a cool
yeah.
guy. London boy. Had a sweet mouth. It was a funny guy. It was a funny
Mm,
guy. He could be very, very charming. My dad was a very charming guy, actually. Very
that's
sweet guy. So he had all the
the
tools,
tools.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
to marry anybody he wanted to marry. I mean, this is someone that married 5 wives. Come on, come on.
He knew the games.
So he
He knew
knew
the
he knew
games.
the
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's 5 wives that I even know. Like maybe he had like
And that's what I
other
always
people
tell people
somewhere.
too. Like, people say, "Oh, how many siblings do you have?" I'm like, that I know of. This is the number.
Yes.
When my dad passes and other people begin to come up, we will not be surprised at all, because we had like living girlfriends, like we knew girlfriends that were coming and going. Like, I still remember their names. Like
Oh
so,
wow.
yeah.
Okay. No.
I,
The
I was
thing.
I was randomly
I'm
talking to my
listening.
immediate half brother the other day, and I was like, "Oh, remember Shade?" He was like, "Huh?" Ah. I said, "You guys were our kids. Like, you guys are like our adopted kids in our family." And they're like, "No, like, Shade and you look all like these are people that they were just like girlfriends that would come and go and whatever." But yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but for my dad, Sha, I don't think I ever saw him. I mean, maybe he did, but maybe he was very smart about it. But I never saw any, external body count.
Yeah, we did.
And
So
he
not
always
just
came
me,
back
all of
home.
us did.
Oh, my
Even
dad.
till now, we still know my dad's girlfriends.
Ah,
Hi,
okay.
daddy.
Your dad is a sharp guy.
I'm probably
but
older
but my
than she
dad
is,
was
actually. But
yeah.
yeah.
But my dad was a, like I said, the positive side. My dad had like a lot of positive sides, a lot of positive attributes. He was a very good guy. He would come back home. Although he used to do a lot more for outsiders. That's one thing I realized about him. And that used to piss me off. That used to piss me off. He sent all his siblings abroad to school, help them to complete their education, and I'm like, why didn't in fact, we were born in the UK. Myself, my twin sister, most of us in my family were born in the UK. Why did you bring us to Nigeria? Do you understand? Like now we don't have a British passport. Like why? You understand? You did a lot for people outside, but for the people inside, you did not do up to
Do
maybe
you
like
think
70%.
possibly it's because they feel like they should, like that African loyalty where, oh, they gave up everything for me, then I have to kind of
I have
serve
to
them now that I
maybe
have.
maybe I to be honest, I wish when my dad died when I was in uni, right? But even at that point in time, there was still a lot of animosity. There was still a lot of I don't like my dad. There was still a lot of friction. Even though he was, I saw him try
Mhm.
try to mend that relationship. I saw him at some point. My dad was afraid of me, you know, because he had started getting older, and maybe he had started reflecting, and he was actually trying
Trying to do
to
better. Yeah.
to mend the relationship. But at that point in time, I was not there.
Yeah.
I was still at that phase where he's done a lot of things that I'm not happy with. He's made a lot of decisions that I'm not really happy with. And I couldn't even see past how angry I was.
Mm.
I wish he stayed alive just a year or two longer, and so we could have that conversation on why he did so many things. As human beings, we make mistakes,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that's the truth. Sometimes we don't even know that we're making mistakes. We're just making this. We make decisions on the go. Every
Yeah.
single minute we're making decisions. Every second we're making decisions. When
Yeah.
to stand up, when to go and eat something, when to pick up a spoon, or when to go to work, when to make a call. We're always making decisions,
Mhm.
right? So I really wish that he could, if he just stayed alive a year or two longer, we
Mhm.
possibly could have had that conversation, right? So I didn't know a lot of things that was going on in his head, why he made certain decisions. But at the end of the day, the good things that I remember about my dad was him always coming back home. In fact, after work, he always tried to come back home as early as possible. Maybe traffic will hold him back, but he
Mhm.
would try to come home as early as possible, go into the kitchen, no matter how tired he is, go into the kitchen, make a meal. Just sometimes my mom will cook, my stepmom will cook, but most times, and I'm not even exaggerating, most times we tell them not to worry, that he wants to make food for his family.
Oh wow.
Most times, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He will
That's
go.
that's
But
good.
but that used to be a bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie, because my dad could spend like hours in the
Cooking.
kitchen. My dad was not
Did
even
you
joking
inherit
around.
that or not?
Um, Cooking, yes. I picked up a lot of cooking skills from my dad and my stepmom. Not particularly from my mom, because my mom, hmm, I think maybe my mom was a bit spoiled by the fact that my dad was always cooking. So like, if my dad didn't come home, the job, oh, and I used to be so mad. Or 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 she'll make something that she wants to eat, but not consider the fact that when I was growing up, I was very picky with food.
Food.
So there's certain food that I would not eat. When I was much younger, food like eba, I would never touch it. Never, never
Uh,
ever. It was too sour in my mouth. It was too like here like this. You'll be
yeah.
eating. It's just like what as if eba is going down. It's like
Come
that
on.
kind of thing. So it's like I would never eat lamb, yam as well. And when my mom makes things like that, it's like is that how you eat it or you go hungry? It's your problem. When
Yeah.
your father comes back, you eat when
You
your father
eat.
comes.
Okay.
And And so I didn't really learn, pick up anything from my mom as regards to cooking. But my stepmom. So the good thing is my stepmom will call me to her kitchen when she wants to go cook. So I would assist her, right? I'll watch her do everything. Sometimes she'll show me like, oh, this in fact, how to wash plates, how to use the tap,
Yeah.
how to clean up the kitchen was my stepmom.
Are you so close to her?
My stepmom,
Yeah.
no. That's that story for another day. That's story for another day.
Okay.
But yeah, so my dad was the kind of person that would come back home no matter how tired he was. In fact, his friends used to be so upset with him that like you have wives, not just a wife, you have wives.
Right,
Like,
literally.
why don't you
There
allow
should
them
be
to
different plates of food.
they let them give you like a buffet of food. Like you should be
Yeah.
sitting there eating like a king,
Thank
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that about him. Although he used to spend like my dad could spend like hours in the kitchen. Sometimes he's done, he gets back home 7:30, we get into the kitchen, or 8 o'clock, we get into the kitchen, and we're still cooking till midnight. And it's just like what the hell?
Yeah, we're
Man?
cooking.
And he's the
We
kind
have
of person
school
who
tomorrow.
he's not the kind of my dad didn't used to do like freezer and things though. You're cooking from the scratch.
Fresh.
You're cooking from the scratch. You see all those chicken and things.
Yeah.
We're cooking the chicken from the scratch.
That's so
Cooking the
nice.
chicken. We're cooking it from the scratch. You see all those.
Nah.
You see all those frozen food and things. Like crab. My dad loved crabs. Fresh fish. So we're doing from the
I
scratch. I say
don't
we
do
took
type
so long.
fish.
See, by the time the food is done, hey, everybody's dozing off. And we're kids. So I went to school, we've come back. This man, you have come back from work. Go and sleep.
No
But
sleep.
eat the food that your wives have made, or ask them to make something to eat and sleep. Like don't stress my life because you want to,
Because you're trying to.
satisfy your hunger for fresh food, that kind of thing. So and then you used to be so upset if you are tired and you're sleeping and you don't want to eat.
Helping.
And it's like, why you're angry that how can we be eating at past midnight? In fact,
Yeah.
that's why now
Mhm.
my metabolism is so used to eating at past midnight. So I cannot even have a pot belly again. Like
Wow.
it's maybe
So you
that's a
just
good
eat
thing.
whenever?
I eat whenever, like at midnight, I'm good. Even my twin sister, but now my sister is sort of having like a small pouch right there. But
Yeah.
for me, I don't know, even to even get fat self, I'm looking for ways to get fat. Like I think my metabolism just got used to, eating at
Burning.
that time of night without having any troubles. But yeah, moving on from kitchen duties, sometimes he'll come every night he'll come into my room just to check on to be sure that I'm safe, that my lights are off, to tuck me into the bed. So sometimes I'm like, I just sleep those off, they just come tuck me in. I remember when I had Apollo. In fact, he taught me this thing. When I was much younger, when you have like infections on your face or Apollo and stuff, you put like Dettol in water. You make it a little bit concentrated and then wash your face with it. By the next day, the Apollo is gone, and it's like,
Really?
what? I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not kidding you. How
That's
he came up
interesting.
with that idea, I have no idea. How he came up with that logic, I have no idea.
But does it
But
work?
every single time, yeah, I said the next day is done. It's
Wow.
gone.
If you have
Apollo
Apollo,
like
try
usually like 3 days.
Taye's father's recipe.
So
Apollo
after that
recipe.
time,
Yeah.
after he died, I think I had Apollo like once after that, and I'll just go into the bathroom, pour Dettol, just make it a little bit obviously it's gonna burn. It's gonna burn because it's a little bit concentrated, right? Still the water is white and stuff. But by the next day it's done. It's like if I got so used to it that after he died, after I had Apollo again, just like anytime I have like any infection or whatever on my face,
Yeah.
straight up Dettol, water, pat my face, go and sleep. The next day I'm kicking again, moving
Well,
like
maybe
nothing
that's his little love letter to you. Whenever you feel like you're going through, just do that and be like, Daddy, you got me. You got me. But
so yeah. So good. He had like really good attributes. My mom also just sort of has like good attributes. I definitely enjoyed my dad better because he was a cool guy. To be honest, he was a cool guy. It was just it was just really annoying. And also I was at a phase in my life where I myself was really annoying because I couldn't see past the little things. And I'm a sensitive person. I'm a very sensitive guy. So imagine, like, in fact, then I didn't even understand what it was. So there was a lot of lashing out and acting out, and all those things. Moving on from that, my siblings. I don't really have a good relationship with my siblings, but many of them. Even my younger brother, not so great. I have an okay relationship with I have a good relationship with my twin sister. I have an okay relationship with one of my step brothers. Um, but that's that. Actually, two of my step brothers. One is in the UK, the other one is in Nigeria. It's just okay. When we talk, we talk. We talk at length. But that whole, coming to live in your house or whatever, all those things that siblings
But do
do.
you at least spend like a day or two, maybe every other month with him or his family or stuff like that? No. Okay.
Nope.
All right.
We haven't really gotten an opportunity to do that.
Okay.
Whether it's that we just couldn't care less, I don't know. Whether it's that the opportunity just hasn't come. Like,
Do they have
like,
kids? Does your brother in Lagos have kids in Nigeria?
Yes, he does. He has like three sons.
A good
The one
place
in
to
the UK as
start.
well has two children.
Oh,
Has three
okay.
children. So in fact, funny you mentioned that. We talked about, sometimes I call him randomly. Sometimes I call him randomly. Sometimes he calls me randomly. We talk. We have an okay relationship. It's not the greatest relationship, right? Based on the fact that we cannot just say, oh, you know what, I did come spend some time for your house. We've not gone to that. We've never explored that.
Okay.
Johnson, we've never explored that, right? But from when, in fact, my dad and him didn't really get along. In fact, when you think about people that my dad really really went in on, like flogged. From the time my dad put Pepe on his back, flogged him with koboko. They held him. No, he told his guards. My dad told his guards to hold him, put fresh pepper on his back, flogged him with koboko. This was not.
That's
But
child abuse wrong.
he was, to be honest, right? He was rebellious, but I feel like a lot of the rebellion came from the fact that his mom and my dad got a divorce, and he did not know where to find his place, and he was the only son of his mom, right?
Yeah.
And he wasn't living in the house; he was living in my dad's other compound. When all the children, aside from the people in the UK, every other child was living in my dad's house, in my dad's main house.
They couldn't understand the placement.
So he didn't really know where to place himself. So there was a lot of rebellion. There was a lot of stupid decisions, right? And I sort of understood where he was coming from, because my brother and I, while we were in my dad's house, we had a great relationship. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, this is my stepbrother. In fact, even now, if we say we should hang out now, right? It's still so cool, because when we talk over the phone, we're so cool. It's like, my brother, my G, how far now? That kind of. So it's like I said, it's not great because we've not explored a lot of things, right? Especially after he left, because he had to leave my dad's house. There was a lot of abuse. To be honest, there was a lot of abuse. Like, my dad abused him, that kind of thing, and I could not even blame him. So at that point was when we did not really get, after he left, we didn't really get the opportunity to explore a lot of, that whole brotherly love, or, what brothers should be like and things like that, because we barely ever saw each other.
What are you doing this weekend? Grab lunch with him.
This weekend,
maybe not this weekend, but like just try to grab lunch with him.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I was even saying, funny when you mentioned the, his kids and everything, because I was even talking to him about, we were talking, and he brought up the idea, my son wants to come spend some time with you. So randomly, his son just calls me and says, Uncle Taiwo, like, I've missed you so much. I've missed you so much. I want to see you. I've not seen you since I was a baby. I want to see you. And I'm like, it's just the time. It's the time. It's the time. But, let's see how Easter goes. Maybe we're exploring the idea, the idea of him coming to spend some time at my house. But I've moved from where I was. Now I'm now on the mainland, right? And I live with my twin sister as well. So it's the both of us. Sometimes my mom's around, and I don't know how that's gonna go with him coming over to spend like some days. But we can spend like a day, just go out to place and see how it is, and then from there we can just baby steps,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, so with my siblings, my younger brother, we don't have a good relationship at all. I feel like he's still in his rebellious phase and he doesn't understand a
They
lot
come
of things.
around. Yeah,
So
they
he doesn't he
still come
doesn't he
around.
doesn't understand a lot of things. And
Wait.
I
You
try.
understand from let's rephrase that. He understands from his own point of view. You guys just don't completely understand him yet.
Well, he understands from his point of view, but he doesn't understand. I still want to settle on the fact that he doesn't understand a lot of things on as per how life really works.
Okay.
There's still a lot of, I sense that there's still a lot of entitlement, which is like a phase in life, right? I try, my twin sister tries, but he just wants to be by himself, and it's okay. He just wants to be by himself. He wants to do things himself. He wants to do things alone. But life doesn't really work that way because you can't really go
You
through
can
life
do
alone.
life alone. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't. Um, and especially if you have like people who want to have your back,
Mhm.
People who want to have your back, at least try to, when people are waving the white flag, at least try to extend an arm, even if it's a finger, don't even extend the whole arm, just
Not the entire
that,
arm.
like the smallest finger, the tiniest finger, just
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
he's not ready. So I don't push anymore. I feel like I could be doing more
Mhm.
by trying to reach out, trying to bother and bug and bug and bug and but just call. Just call every day and say, what, I'm here. Just remind him constantly. But every now and then when he's around, when I see him physically, there's always that reminder that come when you're ready, I'm here, you need
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, whatever it is, I'm still your other brother, whether you like it or not. If you like disown me, it's your problem. That kind of thing. I know my twin sister does the same thing. Sometimes he's rebellious towards my mom, but at the end of the day, I feel like everyone will sort of figure it out. I just really hope that he figures it out.
On time. Yeah.
So he doesn't, yeah, on time, so that he doesn't grow up to be dysfunctional or a menace to society or whatever it is.
Well, I
So yeah,
hope
that's about my relationship with.
your relationship. My relationship with my dad, I just started rebuilding again with my mom. My mom is she's my G, she's my friend.
Right.
Yeah, she's actually more of a friend than, yeah, she's my friend, so things that let me go to the next question, which is, how would you say growing up influenced you? So for me, my mom is a very silently powerful woman, so she doesn't talk a lot, but like when you see her, she gets things done. Like if she says she wants to do this, that is exactly what she's going to do. So I kind of learned from her, like when you say the things, you have to put in the actions and follow up and follow through and make sure you actually do it. So I got that spirit from my mom. But the quiet part, the very silent part of her, also like kind of made me, I talk, but I don't talk about myself. Or like I don't talk about, people think I'm secretive in a way. I'm not secretive. It doesn't open up. So I'm numb to feelings a lot. So like people know that I love them. Now I'm beginning to learn to say I love you or whatever. But it's just like I'm very numb and guarded. That I'm working on though. Yeah, I'm working on it, trust me. Well, how would you say growing up influenced you as an adult, as a functioning adult?
Um. Okay. So because of the kind of family that I grew up in, so I didn't really grow up in a family with a lot of love. I'm not even gonna lie. Like there was no there was no example of what love really is. Making sacrifices for each other, having each other's back. My dad tried his best with trying to gel the family, but there was no, like, how I mentioned before that, oh, you know what, he says do this, but he doesn't help us understand why
Why? Yeah.
and how.
Mm-hmm.
The how and the why are really important, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to glue the family together with Eba.
And we
You
all
know
know
how
that ain't gonna work. Yeah.
that's put Eba on the edge of rim and tire, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like you're trying to glue the family together with Eba. Whereas there's something called Evo stick, there's something called super glue.
Glue. Yeah.
So there's no. We understand the intention.
Sorry.
We understand. We understand what you're trying to. We don't understand. We get what you're trying to do. We see what you're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not really giving us, like, somebody said, I was reading a tweet one time. Actually, it was like 3-4 days ago, and the person said when she and her siblings will fight,
Mm-hmm.
right? They'll fight. Their mom will call them together, give them each a stick of broom,
Mm-hmm.
a broomstick each, and tell them to break it. Right?
Mm-hmm. You can
They'll
break that
break it.
easily.
She now give them the entire bunch, the entire broom.
Mm-hmm.
Take, break it. She now say, see, when you pick each other out, it's easy to break. But when you're together, it's harder to break. That's a practical example.
You give a child that, they would, yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
They would think. You see, because truth is, in fact, a lot of African parents don't understand that. A lot of African parents don't understand that children are human beings.
Yeah.
They have reasoning. They have an intelligence.
Yeah.
They process. They see. They perceive. They understand. Do you understand? They replicate. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So because they don't understand, it's maybe they refuse to understand. Maybe it's a thing of, I refuse to understand. I refuse to let my child be a human being until maybe a certain age or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that, you cannot make decisions by yourself. That's false, because the truth is, if you don't give a child an opportunity to make their own decisions, they will go outside and make their own decisions. Other people will give them an opportunity to make decisions for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I feel like I said, it was just like an type of, bringing a family together. It was not a case of, you know what, this is why, this is how you should go about loving each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I like I said, I grew up in a family where there was not a lot of love. There was a lot of there was a lot of talk backs. There was a lot of arguments. A lot of, I saw my stepmom trying to, and my mom was a very, very quiet woman. My mom was very content. She didn't like altercations. So once altercations start to come like this, once fight start to come like this, sorry, she'll go into her room.
Yeah.
So I picked that. Although I picked the feisty part. So I picked the part that can fight.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also picked the part of going into my bubble like my mom would do.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I hated the fact that my mom would not fight back. Right?
So you didn't want to be like her in that aspect.
So I didn't want to be like her in that regard. But that bubble part, no, I enjoyed my bubble. So because there was not a lot of opportunities to express myself or decide on what I wanted to do without people countering, without even helping me to understand why they're countering and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I always used to go into my bubble. Now, the feisty part of me used to now come out when people try to come into that bubble.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And once you try to, so my first once altercation comes, my first course of action is to go into my bubble. Mm. If you now follow me to that bubble, then we're going to have a big fight. Right?
Yes. So when you go into your bubble there, do you tend to communicate though?
I mean, now I'm learning to communicate. As I grow older, I started to understand that, communication is like the basic human tool. It's the basic human way of expression. You cannot express without communicating. It's not possible. If not, you're just a lot of wood, or even animals communicate.
Communicate, right.
Even lower animals communicate. So it's a very important tool. So I'm learning. But there was for the longest time I'll go into my bubble, and once you come into my bubble, almost like get
Yeah.
out, that kind of thing. It's like I'm ready to, just make everything go from 0 to 1,000 real quick. I don't care how hot I am. I don't care how hot the other person is. I do not care. I'm just, don't come into my bubble when I'm in my bubble.
Right.
That kind of thing. So yeah, so there's a lot of my first instinct when I have an issue with someone or people or an occasion is to go straight into my bubble. Now it takes me some time because I don't process things as fast. I'm not the
Oh
kind of
my God,
person
I
who,
hate that kind of thing. So one of my best friends is actually exactly like that. Like she needs like a week to tell me
um
what I did wrong last week. And I'm like, bro, no, you
okay.
were oh, it drives me
So
crazy.
you know how I said I'm learning, and in fact I'm much better now. I'm much better now. Before it would take a long time.
Hey,
Before it would take
kill
like
me
weeks. It
already.
would take weeks, sometimes a month. But now it's like some. But now it's like it's much. I process things much faster. I process my feelings much faster because I'm
Okay.
more in touch with I'm more in touch with who I'm becoming and who I am.
Mm,
And my feelings as well. I before I didn't used to give myself a chance because it still goes back to how I grew up,
yeah.
right? It still goes back to how I grew up and how the feeling of my feelings are not valid, because nobody cares about them.
Pretty fair, yeah.
So I didn't used to give myself a chance to say, oh, you know what you're feeling right now is valid. So I didn't used to think about, I just go to my bubble just to lock off, just to escape,
Mm,
but not think about, what I'm feeling.
yeah. So you
But
weren't even
now,
processing your feelings,
no,
you
so
were
I,
just
I
feeling
didn't.
your
So
feelings.
that attack was it was sort of a vengeful type of attack. It was not.
Mm,
It was not. Oh, you know what? It was like now I'm just trying to escape everybody. Don't come into this escape. I'm
yeah.
trying to. I'm trying to elope. don't,
See
don't
yourself.
follow me to elope.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but I'm much, trust me, I'm much better now. So
Yeah.
usually I just tell people that I care about, people that know me, just know that you see, once Taiwo goes into his bubble, he will come around. Just give him some time, or be nice. Just be nice. Because
Wow.
I respond to niceties. I respond to nice people, nice words, nice comments, because I didn't get that growing up.
Mm.
I didn't get
So
that
are
growing up.
you a words of affirmation type love language?
Words of affirmation mean a lot, but gifts are like even better.
Number one. Okay. Okay. All right.
Don't
So
even
y'all, if
test
you have
me. Keep
words
your words of
for
affirmation.
Taye,
Give me gifts.
give him gifts and
But
then give him
but
words of affirmation.
but
Okay.
but 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 the thing is, I don't even really think it's the words of affirmation type of thing. Words trigger me.
Oh,
Words trigger me.
okay.
Tone and words and tones, they trigger me a lot.
Mm.
Right? So you can say, you're just stupid. See your big head like coconut, and I'll laugh about it. But the very second the tone changes, then
Mm.
it becomes a big problem. It becomes a. There was one time I had a fight with one of my neighbors. This was about 5 years ago. I was in Agungi, and she was talking about. She made a comment about my legs. How I just started working out, and my calves were still developing, right? And she
Yeah.
said something about me being Johnny Bravo. My upper body was never that big. Do you understand?
Yeah.
My mom was even that big, but then it triggered me, and I kept quiet. So I made me in a bit, come back. I made a comment about something on her body as well, and
Yeah.
then she now goes, "Oh, that's your jalopika." I swear that thing triggered me so badly. It triggered me so badly. So words, like I said, they trigger me. But it's how the tone also really, really, really matters to me. So words and tones are like very, very triggering for me.
Okay.
I feel like I've lost track of where I'm coming from.
So we were coming from how um
Okay,
da.
I remember. So like I said,
Your
I'm much
parents,
better
yeah.
now. I'm much better now. So nice words, nice words. Like, oh, you know what? Not don't bug me, don't bug me. When I'm in my bubble, don't bug me. Just that whole, just leave a message saying, oh, you know what? I just want to check up on you. I hope you're good. I hope you're all right. When you're ready to talk. And that whole in fact, I do it for Paul a lot because it's like how I respond to things. That when you're ready, I'm here. It's the kind things. It makes me know that, oh, you know what? This thing that this person has done this thing that this person has done,
Mm-hmm.
it probably didn't come from a malicious place.
Mm.
Because the first thing that comes to my mind when people do things when people wrong me is it has come from a malicious place,
The
right?
intent.
I don't know why I think that. I don't know why that's what usually my first, because like usually, like I said, while I was much younger, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. No, this thing, and because most of the time it does, like growing up is usually from a malicious place.
Yeah.
It's usually like, oh, you know what, I just want to be mean to this person.
Mm.
So when I run into my bubble, it's a safe spot for me. It's usually like, oh, you know what, I just want to be, and sometimes but for now, at this point in time of my life, it's a point of, oh, you know what, I want to process what I'm feeling. So when I go into my bubble, I want to first understand what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling it, so that I can express it to you. Because if you don't give me that opportunity, I'm just going to be rambling and I'm going to be yelling.
That I'm learning. Once something happens, here is what you did. Here is how I feel. Let's talk about it. But I'm learning
I'm
from
not the kind of person I want to
friends
talk.
that
I don't want to talk about it right there. You can express yourself and tell me what you feel, right? But to hear him from me,
you will
nah,
not.
I'm not ready to.
Nah.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Just give me my
No.
time. Give me my time and my space. Because
Wow.
as well, I don't process things as fast as some other people. Some people think on their feet. I don't think on my feet. It's too much pressure for me. It's too much pressure. Like I don't know how to. You get. So for me, I take my time to process things. So once I'm done processing, then we can have a conversation about it. Hopefully you're ready. If you're not ready, I'll give you your time to also, be ready.
Hey, my dear, it's that time. Go. It's that time that will literally drive me crazy. But wrapping up here, because we're actually going over some time, what would you say are some traditions, family traditions that you will take from your family or your parents into your own, like the family you're making?
Wait, hold on. Something just popped in my head. I'm sorry. I have to go back to that last question.
No, go ahead.
So another thing is, I feel like another thing that's really, another way I've been shaped for is that, for me, I don't know how to. I don't know whether it's that I don't know how to, but for me, once a relationship is going, I don't know how to drag it back. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No. So
I don't know how to
going?
fight. I don't know how to fight for relationships.
Oh, I don't know how to. I'm not equipped to handle breakups and then coming back. Like I feel like once something is, I don't. I'm working on believing in second chances. I don't like. I'm just like once it's done, it's dead and goodbye. But that's interesting. Yeah.
So I don't know how to like pull back. Like, oh, you know what? Hey, come.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I mean, I'm trying. Sometimes I'm trying, but still, it still feels awkward. It feels like this is a bit foreign, no?
Yeah.
It's a bit foreign, but it's nicer because you see the joy on the other person's face that, oh, you know what, you're fighting for, and it's not just, it's all my relationships. All my relationships. It's like, oh, you know what, if you want to go. And I feel like that started coming. In fact, what broke the camel's back was immediately my dad died. In fact, I was so pissed at my dad for dying.
Yeah. Ooh. Have you actually dealt with that pain? Have you dealt with it? Do you think?
I don't think I have. I haven't actually. I haven't. I might pissed at him for dying. I'm not sure that I'm pissed. I mean, he died.
Yeah.
He died. He was sick, so he died. But there's so many things that I need closure on. And I want to understand a lot of things. I didn't understand my dad.
Yeah.
I didn't really know him. Like know him.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand his perspective. My dad was a successful man. He made a lot of good business deals, good business decisions and things like that. But so he wasn't a dummy, he wasn't a stupid person, right? And I feel like there's so many questions I want to ask him. Sometimes I dream of him and I dream of myself asking him questions. But still it's not the same because it's like it's an extension of of my mind. It's just it's a projection, you know. So immediately after he died, for me, it's like, you know what? It's gone, I beg. You just go, I beg. You never just come and stress my life, I beg. Just go, carry your wallet and go. But I didn't want him to go.
Right. Because you still
Just
had,
that.
you still
Because I wanted
needed
to know
him.
him.
So
I
yeah,
wanted to know him. Yeah, I needed him to be
needed more
around. I
time.
wanted to
Yeah.
know him. Yeah, I needed more time. So I feel like even now, so if someone wants to go, whether it's my friend, whether it's my girlfriend, whether it's my whatever it is, you want to go, right? No problem. Bye. Sometimes it feels mean, but it's not coming from a place of, oh, you know what, I mean you, or
So let me
I'm
ask you a
being
question. Do you
dismissive.
always expect people to leave then?
Honestly, I was gonna start with that. Yes, that's
No.
my first instinct. When I start to build a relationship with anyone, my first instinct is they would leave eventually.
Okay.
It's a toxic trait, but I feel like I probably need to like pay like a therapist to like
You
go through
should.
everything that I have
Remember,
that I have
remember
felt.
the book from MFO, the adult children of emotionally something
Yeah.
parents. You should probably read that book.
Yeah.
You should probably read the book. Yeah. So those are some of the books that I read. Trying to figure out this adulthood by myself on parenting and healing. Right. Um, that will be my gift to you when next I see you.
I've
Yeah.
probably spent like 10 years trying to read that book because
It's a good book.
reading
It's a good
reading is not like my strongest suit. I'm not even gonna lie. How I read, the only thing I really enjoy reading is like film scripts
script.
or just scripts generally,
Because you're an actor, so how you not gonna
Yeah,
read
because it's
scripts?
like the job, because
Yeah.
it's like that's my job. I have to read scripts, but
Yeah.
usually once it comes to books, right, I'm more inclined to audiobooks. Audio visuals are like my thing. It's
Okay.
not
Okay.
having to sit down and like read through books. Especially if you now give me on like tabs and my phone, like all those digital books.
Yeah.
Don't even like I don't even see them. I don't see them. My
Wow.
scripts, I have to always print. I have to go get a printer in fact, now I have 3 printers in my house. So
Wow.
that when one ink finishes, there's no excuse of I cannot read my
You cannot
script, I
print.
cannot break down my script. I
Yeah.
will print it. I'm not waiting for a producer or director to print my script for me. I
Wow.
must print my script because that's the only way that I can
You
read.
can. Wow. Okay.
You
Yeah.
know,
No, I'm a book person. Just give me. I mean, preferably print, but give me books in any way, shape, or form. I'm reading for sure. So let's wrap up. Let's
yeah,
go
yeah,
over
yeah.
to family traditions that you like.
Oh, I liked Christmas. My
Okay.
dad used to do every actually most Christian holidays. Easter, Christmas, those in fact, even during Lent sometimes, every single time after church, we'll come New Year, we'll come back, pop champagne. Okay, no, so we were not allowed to have like champagne, but always like
Yeah.
fruit wine, fruit wine, and eat. There was always lots of food, so everybody would sit down in the living room and just
Mm.
eat.
So when you said left, were you raised Catholic or Baptist?
Anglican.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know.
So we used to have like Ash Wednesdays and things like that.
Okay.
Um, I was raised Anglican. So yeah, that is one thing that I really miss. I didn't miss the morning prayers. I'm not gonna lie. Right? I mean, it was good that we're praying as a family in the morning, but
Yeah.
man, especially when my stepmom starts to pray, man, everybody's dozing off already. It's like
Yeah.
I thought all those mornings when the last like maybe multiple people should pray.
Oh
Once
boy.
my stepmom takes the mic, everybody
I
just
saw
know
that.
that snoring. You just hear like everybody's having their musical instruments.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
But,
So
but
go ahead.
but I enjoyed. I'm not gonna lie. There are good moments. There are
Mhm.
really good moments. There are fun moments, right? I mean,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be sad if it was all sad throughout?
Outside.
I would probably be a sociopath right now. I'll probably be killing people
Yeah.
like Dexter or something if it
Some
was all sad. So there were some really good moments. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
So that, and then my dad liked crabs, like I mentioned, for seafood
Mm.
generally.
Okay.
So sometimes they'll bring snails, they'll bring crabs,
I like
they'll bring
snails.
crayfish to the house, and everybody's sitting down like big
Having.
baskets. Everybody's opening and breaking, and all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Popsy used to make sure that his children were in the kitchen while he was cooking
Mm.
at different times. He would teach us different things, how to change electrical cables and things like that. How to change the gas, how to fix stuff around the house. All those things, all those
Mm.
little things. I really enjoyed learning all those things. I just wish that there was a bit more
More.
love.
Mm.
There was a bit more love.
So
That would
you're
have,
taking to your family the fixing and spending time together, and then the food on Christmas holidays is what you. Okay,
yes.
okay. For me, my dad's family used to every January 2nd come to the oldest son's house, which was my dad. And like
Okay.
all his siblings, his half siblings, their wives, their kids, or my cousins on my paternal side. Um, January 2nd was like the family New Year day. So like my father's house was always like popping. I actually used to, for the longest time, think January 2nd was New Year.
Oh,
Yeah. I
that,
used to
that makes sense. That
yeah,
really makes sense.
I used to think January 2nd was like the actual New Year, not the day before. Like the day before was just that you create into the year, and then
Yeah,
January
all
second
right.
was the day you celebrated. But for sure that celebration for me is something I would like to introduce my kids to, even though I'm not the first of anybody. I'm the middle of both of my parents. And then on my mother's side, in September, I'm from Ondo State, for those who don't know, there's a New Yam festival. And I just remember it used to be very fun with my maternal grandmother and my maternal cousins. So it was always the third Thursday or Saturdays in September. Everybody used to come from all over Warri, abroad, Lagos. Like my there was always like inyo and egusi and like all the good Ondo food.
Right.
That I'm seeing people reinvent in new ways by just like bringing people to their homes and making that food instead of, so it used to be you go to the farm, you go harvest your new yam for that year. But those two traditions for sure are things I feel like I'm going to take into my own family and help create a new, like, own it as a tradition and culture for sure. So we've gone through a lot, guys. Let me know if you want
Yeah.
to tie you back on part 2, and then we'll come and talk a little bit more about our family dynamics and how that's shaping us as artists, as an actor for Taye, as a writer for me, and just how we're adulting on the streets. Thank you
Adult
so much,
thing.
adulting. Any last words, Taye?
Um, I'm not sure that I have much to say. Aside from I really do hope, personally, I really do hope that my own family will be a lot much more different, a lot different than the family that I grew up in.
Mm.
And for people out there who grew up in abusive uh families and things like that, just try to get as much help as you can, because the trauma sticks with you for a very long time. Sometimes we don't even know, we just subconsciously act out on the trauma, and until we sit back and really think about it, that's when we can really pinpoint where this is coming from. And for people who are in abusive relationships, please, if it's not working, it's not working. Just leave, I beg.
Don't glue it with
Because
Eva.
don't do it together, please, 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 for your sake. And somebody was telling me the other day, where they're talking about some the family, husband and wife, who sort of having like serious issues with domestic violence. And I'm like, I was telling the person, like, Tom, these signs were there from the get-go. The the woman just refused to see it, or she probably saw it and felt like, oh, he'll change.
You'll change,
There's
yeah.
nothing like, see, leave first. Let him, if it changes,
Let it come
this
back,
time
yeah.
you'll see it. Do you
Yeah.
get? That's if you're available. If he comes back and he has not changed, keep living your life.
Yeah.
Especially for women, especially for women. See, I mean, especially for women, but men as well. Men
Yeah.
as well. Toxic women, stay away. Stay
Yeah.
away. I've been in a couple toxic relationships. Stay away. They will change you as a man. And because you are most times men think best of their physical strength,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And once you feel toxicity coming your way, you want to approach it with physical strength most of the time, except people who have mastered the art of using their mind first,
Self
right?
control. Yeah.
But it's easier to use your physical strength than your mind, to be honest,
Mm.
right? But
Yeah.
it's better to use your mind. It's better to use your words and try to control the situation. So if it's toxic, just leave. Men, women, whatever it is, just leave. I beg. I beg. Let's not be killing ourselves in
On
society.
that note, we wrap up with Taye saying, "Just leave. He's not working. Don't glue it. Don't
Don't leave it
paparazzi
about,
it.
please.
Just go. don't glue it. Whatever." I love it. Taye, thank you so much for coming. I hope you'll be back again.
I hope so too. I hope so. This was
Okay.
fun. This was really good.
Yeah,
Thanks
I'm
for
glad.
letting me talk all the talk I wanted to talk.
I know, right? You'll be holding it to your chest. What? Let it out. All right.
And thank you so much for listening, for watching. If you guys enjoyed this conversation, feel free to leave me a comment in this comment section or online on this Instagram stories, Twitter stories at Sense&Rants. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And until next time, do not forget to hold your loved ones tight, and whatever it is you want to do, whoever it is you want to become, all you have to do is start. Have a good rest of your day.